fundraisers, I'm Dawn Lego. It's time to buckle up for a new episode of Raise Nation Radio, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impact in our communities, building better tomorrows, and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together we'll dive into lively conversations and chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders to explore all those hot-button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. All right, let's get going. Welcome back, Raise Nation Radio. It's great to connect with you again. If you've been with us before, thank you for making the show a fan favorite. We've hit some record play time in the last few weeks, and it's exciting to see that the show is resonating with you, and we really appreciate you being a fan. If you're new, welcome. We are hopefully everywhere, or at least on your favorite channel. We stream on 10 different podcast channels. We're on demand at onecause.com. And we'd love to have you with us. So hopefully today's show will inspire you to follow us and coming back for more of our guests. But today I'm super excited to talk to Zoe O'Haillin. And we are going to talk about the Indiana Youth Group, which is pretty exciting and special mission based in, of course, Indiana, hence the name. Zoe is the director of engagement there. And we're going to get into it as soon as I welcomed her to the show. So Zoe, welcome to Raise Nation Radio. We're so glad that you're here.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I appreciate you giving us this little bit of time to tell more about what we do.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to hear. It's a really special mission, a special organization. You're doing a lot of good work over there. So, but first, our audience would love to get to know you and share whatever you'd like. Tell us what you do at the Indiana Youth Group and how you came to the director of engagement there, and whatever else you want to share. We just want to get to know you.
Yeah, of course. Well, as the director of engagement, I often sum up my job as chief storyteller. So I get the privilege of going out into the community and telling people IYG's story, where we came from, where we're going, what we're doing, who we are. So it's a really exciting position to have because, you know, we've got this terrific team of youth and young adult client service workers, which include case managers and the like. They're doing the work with the youth and the young adults that we serve. And I get to go out and share what that work is and the impact we're having on the community. As the director of engagement, I oversee our social media, grant writing, cultural competency training and outreach, all sorts of fun things like that. And it's really interesting that I ended up in this work because, to give you a little bit of background, my training, my college background was in musical theater. So, I mean, wow. I guess that comes into play when I'm doing things like this or going out into the community and speaking. But I was working in theater and wedding planning of all things. And I was just, you know, this was I just hit my 5-year anniversary with IYG this week. So I just wanted to try something new and do work that made a difference. You know, as a trans woman, I was seeing that our country was not moving in the right direction. Our state was not really moving in the right direction. So I wanted to be part of that solution. So I started looking for jobs that would allow me to do that. And I came across IYG. They were hiring for a volunteer coordinator. So I applied for that. And I think it was in my second interview, they said, you know, we've got a couple of people on the hook for volunteer, but we actually just had this other position open, which was we called it the engagement coordinator. So they had me go ahead and interview for that. And I was given that job. And nice. That was kind of like, in many ways, an admin assistant to the department. But the great thing was I worked right with our director of engagement. And for several years, I worked alongside him, helped build the department into what it is. And then when he moved on, I had the opportunity to step up into this position and help run this department that I helped build. So
sounds like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I think the stars were aligned as you were taking your journey, you know, in your career, all those different stages kind of prepares you for where you are, because, the world is a stage, and public speaking is not for everyone. Sounds like you do a lot of that. And what better way to get that experience than on the stage? So you're right where you belong. And we're so grateful because you're doing such great work I'm going to try to get that IYG. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
I say all three words, and I've got to learn a little acronym there. Well, let's talk about IYG, or Indiana Youth Group. What is the core mission and focus of the work that you do?
Yeah. So in a few words, we create safer spaces and we empower the voices of youth and young adults who identify as LGBTQ+, and we help them foster community to become self-sufficient and thriving members of our community.
Wow. Okay, good. Right from the population, from a youth perspective then.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit more about like your programming and your impact and what service, like just what do we do? What do we do here at IYG?
Yeah. So our core is just creating that safer space where youth and young adults, we serve those 12 to 24 into two segments. We have our youth programs, which are 12 to 20, and then our young adult programs, which are 18 to 24 with that little 2-year overlap. And we just create a safer space where they can come and be themselves without fear of discrimination, fear of being judged or harmed. We create a place a community space where they can just come and be their authentic selves openly and without reservation. And from there, we build on their other needs. We have some youth who come in and they just need this community space. They just want to hang out with their peers and get to know other people that are like them or similar to them. And then we also have some youth that are coming in that have been kicked out of their home. Statistics are showing that 1 in 4 LGBTQ+ youth are kicked out of their home when they come out to their parents. So we have a lot of youth and young adults who are living on the streets or are being kicked out. So we provide housing support. We help them find permanent long-term housing. We have a food pantry and a clothing closet, laundry facilities, shower rooms, everything that these youth might need just to get their basic needs met. And that's the thing, is we always approach from this holistic wraparound approach. We start with the most basic needs, we get those covered, and then we build from there. Yeah. Because, there's some kids, they need a GED or they need to get back into school. But if they're living on the streets, you can't focus on a class or homework when you don't know where you're laying your head down at night.
Well, being a youth today, I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to go back. Just being a youth today, they're just dealing with so much more than I felt I ever did with cell phones and and I'm all for innovation. I'm not, down on innovation or in any way, but social media and cell phones and the way we communicate and digital footprints and pressure and just that alone, let alone if you feel like you don't fit in, right? Or that you don't have your family support for who you are authentically. It's just another layer and layer and layer that must be an impossible barrier sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And, going back to that technology piece, there's always been bullies in school, but now with cyberbullying, it doesn't stop when you leave school. A lot of these LGBTQ+ youth, they'll go home, which is supposed to be a safe space, and then there's people bullying them on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media they're using, or people can get their phone number and text them hateful things. And a lot of youth are battling with that, and it doesn't help that we live in a socio-political environment where adults are bullying them online now too.
Yeah. They ricochet from one unsafe place to another unsafe place. There's no respite. There's no relief. And the pressure must be daunting, to try to deal with. So when you said about housing, is that your Project Prism, the rehousing program? Tell me a little bit about that, because I heard you mention that after you go for the essential basic needs, you build and build. Is that what you're talking about with the rehousing program, Project Prism?
Yes, Project Prism is our rehousing program, which is unique in a way. It's the only rapid rehousing program that's specifically focused on LGBTQ+ youth in the state of Indiana. And what this means is it's not transitional, meaning some youth will go into transitional homes or shelters where they can only stay for a brief period of time. Through Project Prism, they work with a case manager and they pick an apartment that will be theirs long term. So their case manager will help them navigate, finding an apartment that is close to, if they're going back to school, finding the one that's close to school, finding the one that's close to work. And once they pick an apartment, we help get them set up. That includes furniture and housewares, because when these kids come from the streets, they have nothing. So we help them get set up and get comfortable. And then through a 3-year program, we kind of stair step them off of our support. So we help them get a job or an education. And little by little, they start to take over the responsibilities of utilities and housewares and groceries. And then finally, by the end of the 3-year program, assuming all has gone to plan, they are paying their own rent and they are already in this home that they don't have to leave. They don't have to move and go find someplace else. They're already settled.
So what's the solution then for your younger population that might be, separated from their home? If it's like a 3-year step up type program, if they're 12, by 15, they're not an adult yet. Can they even have access to this housing being a minor? Or is that really a program just for your older groups?
Yeah, this program is more for those who are 18 and older or 16 and older if they're emancipated.
Okay.
Or if they've been kicked out of the home, we can sometimes work to get that set up. With the younger kids, the first place we always start, no matter what the kid's age is we try and start with family remediation, which is something we offer to all of our clients and their families. We want to reunite families. That would be the best thing that could happen. So we do have family support programs. We have counseling to try and help these families come back to some level of understanding. And we've actually been fairly successful in that. There are some families who, unfortunately, they write their kid off and they don't look back and they're not willing to change their mind. I can't fathom doing that.
I know.
But we are very lucky that there are some parents that they just need a little bit of education, a little bit of understanding, maybe another parent who's gone through it that they can meet with and learn from. So that's the first thing we do. Otherwise, we have to we are in partnership with the Indianapolis Department of Child Services. So if the youth is underage, we do work with them to find a solution for these younger kids that works. Because, obviously we can't drop a 12-year-old in an apartment.
Right. But then they could transition if they still need that support as they
Right. Yeah. So
okay.
Sometimes, through DCS, they might end up with a foster family for a brief period of time, just to get them through until they are of age. And then they can come back and get into Project Prism.
Yeah. Weight of the world on these young people's. It's sad to see. I think I want to go back to something that you said in your introduction. Now, how long have you been at IYG?
5 years this week.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Happy anniversary. You. That's wonderful. So I think you mentioned, or I thought I heard you say that 5 years ago, you didn't really see the systemic change that you were hoping for the LGBTQ communities and for youths. And let's fast forward to where we are today. Have we progressed? There's always work to do, right? There's always more we can do. I get that. But how do you feel we're doing as a society in making improvements here?
It really depends on where you live. That is a big thing. I will say I see a lot of community support. I do see more community support, more awareness. More people are having the conversations about how to support the LGBTQ plus community, especially youth. We see more people advocating. So we are progressing in that way. So I'd say in a personal way, in an interpersonal way, we're seeing it. Unfortunately, from a legal standpoint, Indiana has kind of backslid. We had over 30 anti-LGBTQ plus bills proposed in the Indiana legislation this past season. So Indiana is currently, there are two major ones that passed this last legislative season, including Indiana's own version of the Don't Say Gay bill, meaning that teachers could get into trouble if they have any literature or anything that discusses the existence of LGBTQ plus people in schools up to third grade. And the bill is very unclear.
You have to run that by me again. Wait, what did you just say? So I have to hear that again.
In elementary schools, kindergarten through third grade, teachers can get into serious legal trouble just for acknowledging the existence of LGBTQ plus people. So if they have like a storybook that has gay characters or mentions the idea that someone even could be transgender, they can be charged with teaching sexuality to youth.
Wow.
And it's essentially an obscenity charge that they could be charged with.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, isn't it? Oh gosh, doesn't it violate just being authentic? Like, just you are who you are. Live and let live. Be you.
Mm-hmm.
And why can't we just talk about it? I can't. I'm a little taken back.
There's, I will say the ACLU of Indiana is pushing back against that because there are a lot of violations of Title IX and other protections based on gender.
Explain to me Title IX. I don't know Title IX.
So Title IX is it protects on the basis of gender identity.
Okay.
And so the Supreme Court of the United States a few years ago did rule that does extend to transgender, non-binary, and other gender diverse individuals. So, if a school wants to say trans people can't do this or non-binary people can't do that, that's a violation of Title IX because they are specifically being discriminated against based on their gender identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So luckily, we have people in the community who are pushing back against this because this greatly affects our LGBTQ plus students in very negative ways. Even a kid who maybe has two dads or two moms or a non-binary parent, this affects them because if they're saying, hey, share what you did over summer break. If a kid says, well, me and my two dads went to there, they could be told, oh, you can't talk about that. Actually, the law kind of insists that teachers should say, don't talk about that. And it's heartbreaking that, any kid is not given the same rights as the student immediately next to them in the classroom.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the bills we're dealing with. We also have a bill that bans any form of gender affirming care for trans youth. And that, we're not talking about surgeries because, first of all, no gender clinics in the state of Indiana provide surgeries. They just don't, not to minors. But now this law is posed to say you can't go to a speech pathologist to take voice therapy to alter your voice. You can't take hormone blockers to prevent the onset of puberty while you figure out what your path in life will be. Which is, by the way, hormone blockers are entirely reversible. It's not a permanent change. So if a kid goes on a hormone blocker to determine what their identity might be, as soon as they come off of those blockers, things will revert. So it's not like a permanent alteration. But yeah, they're just putting all these barriers to kids.
It's also a personal choice. I don't proclaim to know anything about, medicine and or treatment or care, but it's a personal choice. It's your body and it's your mind and your heart and your soul. And if this is, as long as you're proceeding, and from my opinion, I'm just going to put a little something out there. If you're proceeding with the right education and the right medical advisement and the second opinions, and it should be your choice together, I guess, with your parents. If you're a minor, it just should be your choice.
Exactly. With those minors, it's if their parents are supportive and say, this is what my child needs, this is the medical decision that's best for our family, those parents should have that right.
100%. Sure. Okay. Well, let's get off the politics. Let's get back to the mission and the great work that you're doing. Can you share, with no names, please, just maybe some success stories about some of the clients you've served and how you've seen them blossom and grow into their authentic self? I'd love to hear, protecting privacy, of course, but some of the great work that you're doing in examples.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we've had, there's several that popped to mind immediately. We have a young transgender woman who has been coming to us for several years since she was a teenager. When she came out, she was kicked out of her home. She was doing survival work, just to stay alive, just to have.
Is survival work what I think it is? What is survival work?
It is. Survival work is it is sex work for the sake of surviving.
Okay.
So, some of these young people, they do it because it gets them money. It puts them into a house for a night. It's just a means of survival for them.
Understood. Yeah.
So she came to us with nothing, living in a car. And through several years of working with a case manager here, she's been able to really get her life on track. And now she's working. She has a full-time job as a trans advocate. So not only has she grown into a self-sufficient adult, she's now in a position where she's helping other young trans people find their way and find the support and resources they need. We've had other youth that have come to us addicted. They've had substance abuse problems, whether that's alcohol or drugs. We had one client, she was also living in a car. She had a child when she was a teenager. Through her addiction, her child was taken away from her. However, now that she's been coming to IYG, she has gone back to school and gotten a degree. She's working on finding a job. She is now sober. She comes to a addiction support group regularly to continue that support so that she can stay on that path. And because of the work that she's done and the work she's done with her case manager to improve her life circumstances, she started having visitation with her child again, and they are working to be reunited.
It's a long journey, but the desire is there. If somebody goes wayward, it's because, as you said, it's because of survival. It's because of a need to be who you are, and who doesn't have the need to be who they are. And it's just choices that you're making to find freedom. But some of those choices are actually putting you in a different, worse circumstance. It's just complex. Thank goodness thank you for what you're doing, that we can pull some people out and get them, on the right path. Those are beautiful stories. I want to touch base a little bit about what you need. Because if there's audiences that are listening, they're hearing the success, they're hearing your very progressive mindset and some of the programs that you're doing that are really instrumental in the paths of some of these youth lives. Now people want to help. So what is it that you need? We know fundraising, right? So aside from the obvious, what else? I see that on your website, and we're going to get all that information. I'm going to put links in the show notes, how to get in touch, how to help, all that good stuff, contact your contact information. But what else do you need? Can you share that with our audience who's like, oh, I think I need to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're in Indiana, we can always use volunteers. And even outside of Indianapolis. So our flagship center is here in just north of downtown Indianapolis, but we are actually in the middle of an expansion project where we're opening 10 new centers over the next 5 years. So we've just opened a new center in Crawfordsville, and we're preparing to open one in Columbus. So if you're in any of those regional areas and would like to volunteer, or maybe you're in another part of the state and you're curious if we're coming your way, definitely reach out. We can let you know about opportunities there. We always need basic needs support. So we talk about our program that supports these youth and what they need. We have a food pantry that lately we've seen the food moving very quickly with this. As we've dubbed it, the slate of hate, all those bills that were proposed. We've seen the youth we've served in the first 8 months of 2023 is more than double than all the youth we served across 2022. So we're seeing more and more youth coming to us for support. So things like food, housewares, cleaning products for a house, any of those things, we always need those because we're always helping youth either find housing, or maybe if they already have housing, they don't have the means to fill that house and make it home-like. So we always need support in that way. We have a transitional apparel room, which is for our trans and non-binary youth, that provides things that they need, like wigs, makeup, chest binders, gaffs, bras, anything like that. I think any woman listening knows bras are expensive. So
they are. I admit, I just got a new set and I was like, oh, ouch, this is really hurting the pocketbook here. They're very expensive, especially a good one. So I'm glad I asked you, because I don't know that when I think about, the clients you serve, I don't know that my mind would have gone to those are the type of things that you need. But please continue, because this is, enlightening to know what else that you need. So we stopped, I think, at wigs and bras. What else?
Yeah. Makeup, clothing, especially socks and underwear, those things that we all take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if a youth is living on the streets and we're not able to get them housed immediately, or, they're going from shelter to shelter. Washing your socks and underwear isn't something you can do regularly. So they need a supply that they can change and stay clean and fresh. So little things like that. And people can always go to our website, and we do have an Amazon wish list, which is great because it lets us.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. We can update it in real time with, if we look and say, oh, we're really running low on pasta in the pantry, or we're running low on makeup in the transition room, we can just go and pop those on that website. It updates. And when you go in and buy something for us, it ships directly to our center. So you don't even have to worry about
super easy. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great solution. I love that. Now, as far as fundraising is concerned, you were just part of the Indie Tech Gives program, I believe, where we were able to join forces with some Indiana tech groups and do like a social campaign, a peer-to-peer campaign. And you had a corporate sponsor. So was that the first time you participated, or have you been part of the Indiana, the ITG program before?
I think this might have been our first year.
Wow. I was involved this year, but for the very first time as like a co-director. My colleague runs that program, Steve Lausch, and he really does a great job assembling just, tech companies in the area and finding very special missions to support. So it was nice to have you part of Indie Tech Gives, and hopefully it helped a little. Maybe you have to come back next year and we could, help more and see what we can do there. What events do you have taking place that are either programming or fundraising that we need to know about?
Well, as the engagement person, I always love to talk about our fundraising events.
There you go.
So, the 23rd annual IYG auction presented by CH Douglas and Gray Wealth Management is coming up on September 23rd.
Oh, very soon.
Yeah. The auction is our signature fundraising event. It's our biggest one of the year. In a single night, it brings in over $100,000 for the organization.
Yeah. Wow.
And everything we raise goes directly to our programs, to our services. So
it's an auction, like a silent auction, but direct, but it has a specific tangible in that it's going, direct to serve.
Yeah. So it's actually in two parts. We have a silent auction and a live auction.
Oh, great.
And the beauty of this event is, these items are donated by supporters, community businesses. So that's the great thing is we don't have to go and buy things and then auction them, because they're donated. 100% of what we raise through that event is going back to the kids. So, we always try and encourage people to come out and support, and you can even take part in the silent auction virtually. So if you live in another state, but you really want to support the organization, you can register for the event and bid virtually, and we can ship your items to you. And it's great because you get some fun art or some fun item or a vacation package, something exciting, while at the same time, every dollar you put down goes to supporting a youth or young adult in need.
Oh, wow. That's I love the fact that most of it is donated and you can get 100% proceeds on your items and direct to support. So good luck with that coming up.
Thank you.
It's not that far out. So it'll be exciting. Is it something that you have to buy tickets to, or?
Yes. So we sell tickets, and those are available on our website as well.
Great. Okay, good. Now, what is fabulous? Is that how you say that? Fabulous,
Yes.
Fabulous bash. What is? I was trying not to butcher that. What is that all about?
So this is our first annual Halloween community celebration. So
first annual. Oh, good luck.
Yeah. So one of the things we've discovered is, whenever it comes to holidays, whether it's Halloween or the winter holidays, we find that a lot of times LGBTQ families are left out. These places are either held somewhere where it doesn't feel accessible or safe. So, when you think of your trick or treats or trunk or treats or your holiday bazaars, they're usually held in religious institutions that may not be welcoming, or they're held
all these things I haven't thought, all these social injustices I haven't thought about. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. All right.
Or they're held in just some place where a family feels like we don't know those people. Is our family safe? Are our kids going to get looked at odd because they have two moms or because our child is trans? So by creating events like the Fabulous Halloween Bash, it gives a place where LGBTQ families can come, do the trunk or treat, do costume contests, pumpkin decorating, hot cider, all those things that
I want to come.
And everyone in the community is welcome. It's a free event, so there's no cost barrier. So you don't have to be LGBTQ. You've just got to be a advocate or an ally in the community.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to create a place where all the families could come together and celebrate Halloween and fun without having to worry about.
It's a fun time, Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. It's my favorite holiday. So, it's kind of like there's a lot of reasons why this event is very dear to me, is to create that safe space for the families, because everybody should be able to dress up in a costume and get candy without worrying about discrimination.
100%. Yeah. It's just fun. Let's just have some fun. All right. Well, let's round out the year. And what is your December event? It's IYG Pride and Joy. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Pride and Joy started 4 years ago. This will be our fourth event. It started very similar to how the Halloween Bash got integrated. We actually had a family come to us. It was a lesbian couple with children coming and saying, we'd like to take our kids to a Santa Claus breakfast, but they're all hosted by churches. Or when we go, people look at our kids weird while they're waiting to see Santa because they realize, oh, that little girl has two moms or something like that. So we've created this safe space where, again, families can come. They can have breakfast with Santa Claus. They get to take a picture with him, tell him what they want for Christmas. Again, these things that so many of us do and take for granted and don't even think that some people are left out. It's a holiday marketplace. So we have a wonderful vendor fair where people can come and buy crafts and products from local businesses. A lot of the businesses are LGBTQ owned, or selling items and raising money for LGBTQ plus causes. So it's another great way to come out and support IYG. And we have something for everyone. If you're a little too old for Santa Claus, we also have Krampus.
Who's Krampus?
Krampus is the Austrian Christmas monster who, in old timey lore, he would come the night before Santa Claus and punish the bad people. So he's kind of, it's interesting. Krampus has had a whole resurgence in the US as fundraisers. A lot of people will dress up as Krampus and say, you've been, naughty. But if you make a donation to IYG.
Oh, so cute. That's cute. All right. Yeah, that's clever. So, very creative.
We have a wonderful group that comes and does Krampus for us. We also have La Befana, the holiday witch.
Oh, you guys are just fun over there.
Yeah. We just love to have all these fun things. So, if Santa's not your thing, we have all these different old world holiday characters from around the globe. And it's so much fun. And it was so great to see these kids last year. You'd think kids might be afraid of a witch or Krampus, but you'd see these kids, they take a picture with Santa and then they'd be like, Mom, I want to go see the witch. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I got to meet Krampus. And there was a 4-year-old that came dressed as Krampus and followed him around.
I have a vision in my head just to see the joy of children, and children should be joyful. It's the time to be joyful.
Exactly.
And, to see their joy and for them to also have the freedom, right? To just have that, I want to go see Krampus. I want to go see Santa. and to just have that freedom and the opportunity to be comfortable with themselves is just very special. Thank you really so much. You're infectious, really. I'm not from Indiana, although I've been with One Cause for over 13 years now. I think I've stopped counting after 10. But I do get to visit often, and I might make a point to come over and say hi to you guys, because it just sounds like a fun place to be. If I could help you, put me to work, not a problem. But congratulations on, your 5-year anniversary, all the work that you're doing, and just how you're trying to progress societal change and eradicate some of these social injustices and let youth live the way they want to live. And it's very special. So gratitude for everything that you're doing for the communities. It's pretty special. I wish we had more time to chat. I'd love to learn more, but next time I'm in town, we'll perhaps get together and we'll put all these show notes together so people could get involved or donate. Of course, come on, financially is always going to be helpful. So we'll definitely wrap it up all in the show notes. Fearless Fundraisers, that's about all we have time for today. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's Raise Nation topic and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. Tune in for a new episode release every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. That's Thursdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the meantime, listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio. We have about 100 of them. Follow the channel that you like best so that you can get notifications about all of our new guests, just like Zoe. I would like to thank our sponsor, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use digital fundraising solutions that help nonprofits connect with donors. Check it out, onecause.com, and visit the resource tab on the homepage for a broad catalog of ebooks and content and vlogs and blogs and all that good stuff. And hopefully you'll find that very helpful. Huge shout out. And once again, and thanks to my guest, Zoe O'Haillin-Berne. Did I get that right this time? I think I missed the last part in your intro. But thank you for your very expert and authentic voice and just casting a light on what we really need to know. So appreciate you being with us and taking the time. I enjoyed our conversations, but I do have to ask you, any last words of inspiration?
Yeah, I'd like to actually quote my friend who is the president of Indie Pride. And that is to say that if you ever feel like there are forces working against you or you're being oppressed, joy is the loudest form of protest.
Oh, I love that. And Indie Pride, we love that group. We support it every year. So let's say let's say that again, because that was really special. If you're feeling like oppressed, protest with joy, because there's no greater. Yeah, I love that. Oh, that was super special to our Raise Nation audience. Hope you found that special too, and that struck a chord with you. Zoe, thank you again so much. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, that's a wrap. Until next time, I'm Dawn Lego, and this is Raise Nation Radio. You stay fearless out there.